Ever felt the sting of disrespect and wanted to snap back right away? It's a natural reaction. When someone crosses a line, defending yourself feels necessary. But what if true strength isn't in the quick comeback or heated argument? What if it's found in choosing not to respond at all? Today we dive into the wisdom of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that reveals why the strongest people often stay silent in the face of disrespect. Stoics teach that while we can't control other people's words or actions, we have full control over how we react. Immediate responses might feel satisfying, but they often drain your energy and cloud your peace of mind. Those who master themselves don't waste time on petty battles. They protect their calm and focus on what truly matters, their own character and growth. By refusing to feed negativity, they take away the power others try to wield over them. If you're ready to discover how restraint can be your greatest strength and why silence speaks louder than any insult, stay tuned. This video will show you how to rise above disrespect and build lasting inner peace. Number 1, they understand that disrespect says more about the offender than the offended. Imagine you're at work, quietly doing your job with focus and care. During a meeting, after you've presented an idea you're proud of, a colleague suddenly sneers and says, "That's not exactly groundbreaking." The room falls silent for a beat, and the tension becomes palpable. You feel a spike of heat in your chest. Part of you wants to snap back with something equally cutting to prove you won't be walked over. But then you pause. In that moment, you face a choice, not just about what to say, but about who you want to be. You see, disrespect often isn't about you at all. It's about the internal struggles of the person delivering it. People criticize what they don't understand. They mock what they fear, and they lash out when they feel powerless. Stoicism teaches that other people's insults are not reflections of your value. They are revelations of their character. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." That's not just a clever line, it's a key to freedom. When you refuse to let someone's words dictate your inner state, you reclaim your power. You rise above the chaos instead of becoming part of it. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome. He faced betrayal, slander, and conspiracies from people he trusted, even within his own inner circle. But instead of lashing out, he turned inward. In his private writings, later known as Meditations, he reminded himself, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Marcus understood that dignity is not preserved through retaliation, but through restraint. He held fast to his principles, refusing to descend to the level of those who tried to provoke him. Reacting to an insult often feels like winning in the short term. But after the adrenaline fades, you're left with regret, with the knowledge that someone else's bitterness managed to control your behavior. That's not power, that's surrender. When you hold your peace in the face of disrespect, it doesn't mean you're ignoring the offense. It means you're prioritizing your inner stability over external validation. The strongest people are not the ones who speak the loudest, but those who remain calm when the room expects them to erupt. Mastering your response is not easy. It takes discipline, humility, and self-awareness. But every time you choose to stay grounded instead of retaliating, you strengthen a part of yourself that no one can shake. In the end, the people who walk away from petty insults with grace aren't weak. They're wise. They understand that while you can't control what others say, you can absolutely control how much of your peace you're willing to give away. And often the greatest show of strength is simply not giving them the reaction they were hoping for. Number 2, reacting gives away your power and makes you appear weaker. Think back to a time when someone blindsided you with a passive-aggressive comment, maybe in front of others, maybe when you least expected it. Your heart rate spiked, a tight knot formed in your chest. The immediate instinct? Clap back. Put them in their place. Prove you're not one to be messed with. That instant desire to retaliate is familiar and dangerous. But here's the deeper truth. When you react impulsively, you're not showing strength. You're revealing vulnerability. Emotional control is like a fortress. Once you give someone the ability to penetrate it with a few careless words, you're no longer in command of yourself. You've handed them control over your mind. Stoic thinkers warned us about this very trap. They taught that the moment someone's actions dictate your emotions, you've surrendered something sacred, your agency. When you explode in anger or rush to defend your pride, it doesn't make you look powerful. It shows how easily others can pull your strings. Consider the image of a calm lake. Now imagine someone throwing a rock into it. If the lake is stormy, the ripples are chaotic. But if the water is still and deep, the disturbance barely makes a wave. That's what unshaken self-control looks like. And that's what happens when you choose to pause instead of react. Let's replace emotion with example. Think of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison, often mistreated and humiliated, he emerged not with bitterness, but with grace. He didn't lash out at his oppressors. He didn't seek revenge. Instead, he advocated for peace, reconciliation, and unity. His silence wasn't weakness, it was thunderous restraint. That kind of inner strength doesn't just influence people, it transforms nations. Now ask yourself, would lashing out at someone who disrespected you bring resolution, or just more chaos? Reacting in anger gives them exactly what they wanted, a piece of your peace. And worse, it often leaves you with regret, embarrassment, and a reputation for being emotionally unstable. Choosing calmness in the heat of the moment is not about being passive, it's about being strategic. It's about protecting your dignity and thinking long-term. A delayed response is often wiser than a sharp reply. Silence allows you space to reflect, recalibrate, and respond with clarity, if a response is even needed at all. This doesn't mean you allow others to walk over you, not at all, but it means you choose when and how to address things, on your terms, not theirs. You can set boundaries without shouting. You can defend yourself without rage. And often the absence of reaction sends the loudest message. I refuse to be dragged into your storm. That kind of discipline, choosing not to react, builds a reputation over time. People begin to notice that you're not easily shaken, not easily manipulated. It sends a silent message. This person can't be controlled with cheap tactics. That's when real respect starts to grow. Not because you demand it, but because you've shown you don't need to fight for it. You've proven your composure speaks louder than your words ever could. And finally, understand this. Emotional mastery is a lifelong practice, not a one-time decision. You won't always get it right. There will be times when anger slips out, when frustration takes over. But every time you pause, every time you choose silence over reaction, you strengthen a habit that will serve you for life. The more you practice this stillness, the more unshakable you become, not just in moments of conflict, but in every area of your life. Let's also not overlook the personal benefits. When you don't let insults stick, you sleep better. You conserve emotional energy for your goals, your loved ones, your growth. You move through life more peacefully, no longer dictated by the whims of petty people. That's emotional freedom. So the question remains, who do you want to be? The person who erupts at every slight, or the one who commands respect through unshakable poise? True strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. You may not control what others say or do, but you always control your reaction. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Number 3, guarding your focus is wiser than feeding negativity. Real power isn't shown by how fast you clap back at an insult. It's shown by your ability to ignore it completely. In today's noisy world, where ego clashes happen on every corner and social platforms reward outrage, choosing to stay focused and undisturbed is not weakness. It's rare discipline. Those who are mentally strong know their time is sacred. Their focus is not something they casually hand over to every person with an opinion. They don't waste hours replaying rude comments or engaging in back-and-forth arguments that lead nowhere but emotional exhaustion. We all encounter disrespect. Maybe a friend makes a careless joke, a stranger posts a cruel comment, or someone close throws shade out of their own frustration. But strength lies not in reacting to every blow, but in seeing through it, in choosing what's worth your energy. High-level thinkers don't waste fuel on low-level battles. They realize that emotional reactivity only clouds judgment and delays progress. What they're chasing, growth, peace, purpose, means far more than winning arguments that won't matter in a week. Imagine you're running a marathon and someone from the crowd throws a small rock at your feet. You could stop, turn around, and throw it back. Or you could keep running, eyes on the finish line. Which one gets you to your goal? The strong know that every detour into drama is a delay from their purpose. Instead of tripping over insults, they step past them and keep going with calm resolve. A powerful example of this mindset is Oprah Winfrey. Throughout her career, she's faced public criticism, false accusations, and personal attacks. But she never made a habit of striking back. Instead, she funneled that energy into building her empire, creating educational programs, producing impactful media, and uplifting millions through her message. Rather than being baited into petty feuds, Oprah let her success answer the noise. Her poise wasn't passive, it was intentional. By staying focused on what mattered, she turned negativity into fuel, not distraction. In interviews and speeches, she often speaks about guarding your energy. She understood early on that not everything deserves a response. The people throwing insults are not the ones shaping your future. You are, and that's the deeper lesson. The world may try to provoke you, but you decide where your energy flows. Every moment you spend defending yourself against ignorance is a moment taken away from building something meaningful. Strong individuals don't allow others to hijack their emotional state. They've trained themselves to recognize what's noise and what's necessary. When faced with rudeness, they breathe, refocus, and keep moving forward, because success is the loudest response. They also know that staying silent doesn't mean staying passive. It means choosing your battles. It means knowing your worth doesn't need defending to those who are determined not to see it. It means your legacy will speak louder than your anger ever could. You may not be able to prevent others from speaking poorly about you, but you can always decide how much power their words will hold. And when you refuse to react, when you walk forward without carrying the weight of every insult, you win. And here's what's even more powerful. When you stay calm and unshaken in the face of disrespect, you disrupt the cycle. You refuse to mirror negativity, and in doing so, you change the environment around you. People begin to see that you're not reactive, you're intentional. Your silence becomes your signature strength, and that strength inspires others to rise above petty conflict too. Because at the end of the day, what you focus on becomes your reality. You can either give your attention to noise, or you can give it to growth. The person who chooses peace over provocation gains more than just emotional control. They gain clarity, freedom, and momentum. And those things, unlike insults, have the power to shape a meaningful life. Number 4, they don't let insults break their inner peace. Picture someone walking through life with a calm, steady pace. Not because the road is smooth, but because they've mastered how to walk no matter the terrain. That's what inner peace looks like. It's not about silence around you, it's about silence within you. A kind of quiet strength that doesn't flinch when challenged. Strong people don't get drawn into emotional traps. When someone throws an insult or makes a snide comment, they don't rush to defend their pride. Why? Because they understand that emotional reactions are expensive. They cost clarity, time, and energy. And those are things they refuse to give away to anyone throwing negativity. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending that hurtful words don't sting. It's about choosing not to let those words settle inside you. About knowing that what someone says in anger or ignorance says more about them than it ever will about you. Fred Rogers, the beloved television host, is a perfect example of this principle. He was often underestimated and ridiculed for being too soft-spoken, too gentle, or too emotional in a world that worships loud voices. Some critics called his kindness naive. Yet he never fought back with bitterness. He didn't argue. He simply kept showing up with the same calm voice and consistent love, especially for children who needed it most. Instead of letting insults shake his sense of self, Rogers stayed grounded in his purpose. His quiet consistency became his power. He taught generations that being calm isn't weakness, it's strength under control. His legacy wasn't built on winning debates, it was built on emotional clarity and unwavering values. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you protect your mental state from being hijacked. You preserve your energy for what actually matters. And most importantly, you show the world and yourself that you are not controlled by chaos. When you reach this level of self-mastery, you begin to realize that not everything requires your energy, especially not disrespect. You stop chasing validation and instead start protecting your peace like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is, and once you've tasted that calm, you'll no longer be willing to trade it for the fleeting satisfaction of proving someone wrong. Let others shout, insult, or try to provoke a reaction. Your silence will speak volumes, not because you're afraid to respond, but because you've grown past the need to. You've chosen strength, not in defense, but in direction, walking forward with clarity, focused on what matters, untouched by what doesn't. Strong people don't let anyone else dictate how they feel. They decide when to speak, and more importantly, when to stay silent. Because sometimes silence isn't backing down. It's standing tall without having to say a word. Inner peace is not a passive thing. It's an active decision made over and over again to rise above, not for others, for yourself. This peace becomes a beacon for others, inspiring those around you to find their own calm amid chaos. It creates a ripple effect where calmness spreads, helping to heal tension and bring understanding in places where conflict once thrived. Ultimately, the greatest power lies not in overpowering others, but in mastering yourself. When your inner fortress remains unshaken by insults or negativity, you stand not just unbreakable, but truly free. Number 5, they choose growth over grudges. Life will throw its share of harsh words and unfair judgments your way, but the truly strong know that holding on to bitterness only chains you to the past. It stunts your growth and weighs down your spirit. Instead of clinging to resentment, they make a conscious choice to let go and learn. Think of a gardener tending to their plants. When weeds appear, they don't obsess over them or let them choke the life out of the garden. They pull them out, nourish the soil, and focus on cultivating what's healthy and thriving. Similarly, strong people remove toxic negativity from their hearts to make room for growth, wisdom, and peace. A powerful example of this is Malala Yousafzai, who faced violent opposition simply for advocating education. Rather than allowing hatred to consume her, she transformed her pain into purpose. Malala used her experiences not as a reason to hate or seek revenge, but as a stepping stone to inspire millions worldwide toward peace and empowerment. By choosing growth over grudges, you refuse to give pain the power to define you. You become the author of your own story, turning challenges into chapters of strength and resilience. This mindset frees you from being a victim of insults and instead positions you as a champion of your own life. Holding a grudge might feel justified in the moment, but over time it erodes your energy and dims your light. When you release resentment, you reclaim your time and mental space, precious resources that fuel your progress and happiness. Strong individuals understand this deeply. They recognize that their energy is finite and that investing it in growth, forgiveness, and self-improvement yields far greater returns than dwelling on past wounds. Next time you face disrespect, ask yourself, will I let this break me, or will I use it to build a better version of myself? The choice defines your strength. The road to growth is never easy. It demands courage to face your own pain honestly and humility to forgive those who may never apologize. But in that process, you discover a freedom unlike any other. The freedom to rise above, to thrive, and to live fully without the heavy chains of bitterness. Ultimately, choosing growth over grudges isn't about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about reclaiming your power and redirecting your energy toward becoming the person you were always meant to be, stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Thanks for watching. Remember, true strength isn't about winning every argument or proving others wrong. It's about mastering yourself and choosing how you respond. When faced with disrespect, staying calm and composed not only protects your peace, but shows a deeper kind of power. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Let me know in the comments how you handle disrespect and what strategies work best for you. Stay strong, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next video.